Moving into our last story of the day, folks. Title 42 expires May 11th. Are you ready for the flood? Are you ready? You ready for Noah's Ark of human beings coming across the border? Well, folks, they've been lining up already. They've been lining up since May 4th. They're lining up at the border. Hit that like and subscribe button, folks, if you haven't already. So Title 42 is going to expire. You're going to have a massive bleep storm taking place. The Biden administration is going to send 1,500 troops on top of the 2,500 National Guard troops we already have there that aren't going to take care of any sort of policing or nothing like that. It's just going to be administrative work. We did a short the other day. In 2018, Kamala Harris said that this was inappropriate to send our troops to the border. But now in 2023, it's okay when Joe Biden does and the Democrats. You see how that works, the double standard there? Just 5 years later, 5 years ago, she's ripping on Donald Trump and the Republicans. Now, fast forward 5 years in the future, it's all of a sudden okay when Joe Biden and Democrats do it, as if we weren't able to go back in time and actually look at the knuckleheads in the statement that they're making. Go figure. Well, migrants lined up and are lining up at the U.S.-Mexico border on Thursday as hundreds of would-be asylum seekers. It's more than 100, you guys. This is from May 4th, okay? May 4th. They still, as of the recording, they still have what, like 2 more days, something like that. Asylum seekers await their chance to sneak into the country illegally. Migrants are camped out near the border town San Isidro. I'm mispronouncing that, forgive me. In California. This is only California, okay? It's not Arizona, Texas. It's probably a lot harder to get through on the border of California than it is Arizona, Texas. So again, it expires the Trump era COVID that basically allowed you to deport illegal aliens due to the pandemic. Well, the Biden administration, again, will send 1,500 troops. That's already joining the 2,500 that's already there. But so far, the president has ignored Republicans' pleas to extend the emergency powers that allow authorities to deport migrants without hearing their asylum case. One thing we have to understand here is they're ignoring the Republicans because they want this to happen. And you might go, well, Brad, Title 42 is expiring. You know, what are they going to do? Folks, the White House is the one that pushed that whole starting point to happen in the first place. They're the ones that look down and go, hey, we don't need this anymore. We don't think COVID's an issue. The pandemic's over. And so they go, well, what about Title 42? That's a Trump era pandemic policy that should expire then. They're the ones that instituted this, and they were actually questioned by Jackie Heinrich of Fox News during the White House press briefing on that very issue. And Jackie Heinrich goes, well, you're the one that implemented it. And then Karine Jean-Pierre goes, oh, well, we're just following the law. And Jackie Heinrich goes, well, yeah, but you're the ones that implemented. So you basically want this to happen. So why you act like you don't? And you're just kind of hiding behind like, well, it's the law, so we're going to follow it. You wanted this bleep storm to happen. And it's going to happen. You have Ken Cuccinelli, who served as Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security in the Trump administration, told Fox News the U.S. will face a surge in asylum claims he branded as an invasion. I said this was an invasion like a year and a half ago. We did a short on that as well. I uploaded it, and you wouldn't believe the pushback that we got from the progressive left. The comparison that I made was when Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine, he sent 120,000 troops into Ukraine. Granted, they had weapons. Now, when we have 2 million people pour across the border illegally, both with weapons, with drugs, raping children, sex trafficking, all those things, we can't make that comparison. That's not an invasion. 120,000 people invading an actual country versus people just walking across the border illegally with drugs, with weapons, sex trafficking, raping children, all those other things. The Democrats are going to turn a blind eye to it. Do you see the insane logic from that party in the progressive left? So a good chunk of the Southern Hemisphere is lining up at the border, he said. They are going to dash into the country. Yeah, folks, get ready. Freaking get ready. If you're at the southern states there, I'm so sorry. The administration doesn't care. Nope. Not only do they not care, they actually lie about it. They say the border's secure. And Kamala Harris has been there once. Joe Biden went there for 3 hours, didn't see a single migrant, by the way. And if you recall that story, you had thousands of migrants in the streets to the very area that Joe Biden was going to be in 24 hours. And when questioned about it on how they all disappeared, you had Karine Jean-Pierre on the podium just saying, well, it was just a coincidence. We don't really know how that happened, but yeah, it's just a happen chance. It just so happened that he showed up and they were all gone. A deal was struck with Mexico on Thursday for the country to take back Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans who are rejected from the U.S. border from next week. Well, of course they're going to take back those that aren't in their country. Of course. And by the way, you have Karine Jean-Pierre going, oh, this is 70 to 90% of immigrants. You're still shatting records, lady. You're still shatting records. This is a hemispheric challenge that demands hemispheric solutions, DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said. This guy's evil. This guy's so evil. He's the bald-headed guy that we see so many times. He's the one that literally told Congress many of times that the border's secure, and now he's saying it's a hemispheric challenge. Now it's back to a challenge. Before it was just a situation. So in challenge, situation, never a crisis. Now they upgraded to a challenge. So maybe we're working in the right direction here. Maybe at some point we'll get to a crisis. Working with our neighbors in the region, we can and will reduce the number of migrants who reach our southern border. BS. We literally have tape of the Mexican authorities guiding busloads of illegal immigrants to the border. You're telling us they're on our side? It's so bullcrap, and people believe it. People actually believe this nonsense. But the Republican-led House of Representatives, the lower chamber of Congress, is planning to pass tougher immigration laws. Good. Maybe we need tougher immigration laws. I'm not saying like in all totality it should be that much harder, because I do think we need a reform of what's taking place. But how about we build a border wall and stop this stuff from happening? You have a Republican senator from North Carolina, was it Tom Tillis, his name is, I believe, said the end of Title 42 sets a table for Congress to craft new legislation amid predictions of a surge in arrivals. You would think that if you're going to remove a certain policy, which again, I think there is a good argument to remove Title 42, because it was a pandemic era policy, and for us conservative Republicans, we can't say that COVID's done and COVID's over, but at the same time, let Title 42 stay in place. And my logic's linear. I don't think Title 42 should stay in place, but if we're going to remove it, you replace it with something else that basically stops the bleeding. If you're going to remove the Band-Aid that was there for the bleeding, and then you start gushing blood again, what should you do with the Band-Aid, folks? Do you just leave it off so you just keep gushing blood, or do you sit there and find a resolution to fix the damn thing? Find a resolution, and they don't want to do it. They just want to open the borders, and they're going to sit there, oh, it's figured. It's like you gushing blood and the doctor going, don't worry, we fixed it. You're like, there's nothing there. No, it's there. You just can't see it. You're hallucinating. They're like gaslighting you, but I'm bleeding everywhere. No, we fixed it. There's a Band-Aid there. No, you're fine. You're fine. Go home. That's basically, in a nutshell, what's taking place. I hope you're sitting down for this number, folks. Hope you're sitting down. More than 2.3 million migrants tried to illegally sneak into the United States across the Mexican border last year, according to U.S. Customs Border Protection. It's add on basically another million to that. This is up to 1.7 million people in 2021, just over 450,000 the previous year. These are insane numbers. Emergency powers to remove migrants, known as Title 42, came from the 79-year-old federal law that Trump used from the state of the coronavirus pandemic. You have a $16.6 billion border barrier along the frontier with Mexico, and you got a bunch of border walls sitting there in the desert. And as I've always mentioned, if you're an old-time listener of the Bald Brad Show, you would know what I'm about to say in terms of you have the states like Arizona and Texas trying to build makeshift border walls, and the federal government that says they want this to stop happening in terms of, illegal immigrants pouring across the border secure and all these things. The EPA comes in and says, hey, you can't do that. It's on federal land. You're ruining the environment. Folks, it's in the middle of a desert. You're not removing anything. Nothing's happening there. Okay? But this is what they do because they want this to happen. And the long-term goal, and this is what I firmly believe, this is our prediction of what's going to happen. Right now, you have upwards of 22 to 25 million illegal immigrants in the United States presently. Folks, that's more than half of our states in population. Like if you look at the states themselves, most of the population, right, it's like kind of on the border states, it kind of loops around a little bit. What's going to take place is I think at some point they're going to build a border wall. At some point, whether it's Democrat or Republican, and then the conversation is going to be, well, hey, we stopped the bleeding. We did what you wanted. We got the border wall. Everything's secure. There's not people pouring across anymore. Let's go ahead and talk amnesty now. So now you have amnesty at this point of probably close to 30,000 illegal immigrants in the country. They're going to talk amnesty. Which way do you think they're going to vote for? Just which way? Which party sat there and just let them pour in just willy-nilly and just cut the line in front of everybody else? Who do you think they're going to feel entitled to vote for? Feel pressured to vote for? Democrats, folks. Yep, you were right. Democrat Party. That's who they're going to vote for. You think we're ever going to get a president elected again? So now you just poured in 25 million people, and that's going to be diversified through other states and kind of swing the vote because it's already close as it is in some of these swing states. You don't think that's going to have any sort of ramification on anything? It's going to be insane stuff, but folks, people vote in a certain direction. You got to get Republicans out there. And look, I'm not saying Republican candidates are always the greatest, but it's your best option, folks. It's your best option. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.